Yeah. This film, like Carl Bogan, one of the voices in the film, said, washes comes out of the mills, okay? And there were a lot of things that came out of the mills. A lot of that in men's lunch boxes, too. It was a really creative and high-pressure kind of way to do work. The thing that got me thinking about this film is that I've always seen this game played, especially on my uncle's side who just left. It's a game that came out of the mills, and it was a game that men made on their own. That's not a game that you would go down to the Kresge's or the McQuarrie's and buy it. They made the game themselves, and it's our version of Horseshoes. It's part of the Common Ground collection of SteelValleyVoices.com. Steel Valley Voices is an ethnic community archive, and so everything from African Americans all the way down to Zambians is down there, all our major ethnic groups here in Youngstown. But we decided that we needed a collection that reflected common ground. So there are 3 or 4 things in there, and Ringers is something that was played across ethnic groups. I know The Vindicator, when they wrote up the film, a couple lines, they said it was an ethnic game. It wasn't an ethnic game, it was a game everyone played. Right? If you had a father who worked in a rail yard or a machine shop like my father, or a mill, this is a game that you played. And I also wanted to say that The Vindicator highly promoted this game during the Depression. The Vindicator had citywide competitions. They gave cash prizes for winners. There were something like 600 tournaments in the mid-30s.
Wow.
And its game is still played today, as you saw that in Girard. I think in McDonald they still have tournaments. And it's a game that most of us, knew.
You know, when we were watching the film, my wife is here, and she commented that she grew up seeing people play this game.
Okay.
She had no idea that it had been invented in Youngstown.
Right.
How did you decide to make this film? Did it stem from your cultural project, or did it stem from growing up in families that played it?
I just thought it was something that wasn't really looked at. It was a cultural item that should be looked at. It was something that comes from us, and that's ours, and we should take a look at it. I knew it was no good at video, so I like voiceover image, because I can pick up voices pretty good on my little Olympia voice recorder that plugs right into the computer. So I thought I would get some strong voices. I went to my family, of course. My dad is in it. He's with his cane. Maybe you see his cane at the beginning of it. And then my cousin said, "Why don't you talk to the park employees, because maybe they have a history of it." And then I found Cicero Davis, who's the head of an City Workers Union here. Yeah. And he says, "Wow," he says, "you got to come with me to the Newport branch of the library cafe." He says, "because there are a whole bunch of old heads out there who they just talk, and they talk Youngstown history like crazy." And so I sat down and I just turned on the recorder, and I just got really strong voices.
Excellent.
Yeah. And that was a lot of fun, because they brought up memories of their park and what they did. So it was a lot of fun. I got to meet new people in Youngstown.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit about Steel Valley Voices.
Steel Valley Voices, an ethnic community archive, is a digital collection of Youngstown's ethnic history, and it resides on YSU's server. It was started by Sherry Lincoln, Dr. Lincoln, and myself. Okay. And involved people from the history department. But the idea was that it was not going to be a university project that was going to go out into the community. We started off with an Italian collection, because I had 200 letters in Italian, immigrant letters in Italian, that we had scanned and we put it in there. And then there's an African American fraternity of Harvard graduates in Youngstown, and they donated all their files. And those are very interesting files, because they talk about the civil rights struggle in Youngstown before the King era. So a lot of interesting stuff in there. It's called the Delta something collection. I forget the fraternity. And then we just started picking up stories from Briar Hill, stories from Smoky Hollow. And one of the things we realized was that people lived in fairly mixed neighborhoods up to a point in Youngstown. People think of, Briar Hill Italian Festival, but it was a fairly mixed neighborhood. And we picked up Frank Nolasco's memory. Frank comes from a Mexican family, and they lived in Briar Hill. And he had their transit papers that they needed to cross the border, and talked about members of his family and how they settled in the area. We have a lot of Slovak history. We have a history of St. Rocco's Church, which was a very independent Catholic parish which withdrew from the Catholic diocese and affiliated eventually with the Episcopal Diocese in Ohio. We just have a lot in there. And now that Dr. Lincoln has left YSU, it looks like Steel Valley Voices is going to be under the aegis of the Steel Museum.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens there. But it's very easy to find the collections, steelvalleyvoices.com.
Excellent.
Okay. And there's video there, there's a history of Briar Hill. There's also an interview on the origin of Briar Hill pizza, one of our local pizzas. Yeah.
Do we have any questions from the audience?
Yeah, where was the actual origin of the game then? It said, was it part of Falcon Foundry?
The Vindicator says that it was started at Falcon Bronze Foundry Playground.
Would that have been, where were they, in Lowville?
No, that was before Lowville.
Okay, they were still in Youngstown.
They were still in Youngstown, yeah.
Because I was born in '52, and in the late '50s and early '60s, when I got old enough to, get on a bicycle, absolutely every playground, at least on the south side of Youngstown, had washers.
Right.
I remember because my old man was from Struthers. They
Oh,
had
yeah.
down there in their parks.
Yeah.
The only difference I remember is the pipes were inclined slightly towards each other to make it a little easier.
I've seen that version of the game. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not 45 degrees, but you didn't have to hit that small target. They made it a little easier.
Yeah, they stretched it out to an ellipse. Yeah. Yeah.
So, even though this
Yeah,
game
it was
sort
a
of,
little easier to do.
Yeah.
even though the game sort of popped up naturally from the steel culture, it was installed in metro parks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't call them metro parks there.
But I mean, they're public
Playgrounds.
parks.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Playground.
Yeah.
Playgrounds,
Yeah.
too.
I was just gonna say it was really interesting to see the film because it like brought from like the recesses of my memory having played it and having played it in the park. It was like this little there was a little sandy area, and you had them down there, and then also playing them outside of the park with like coffee cans,
Right,
coffee cans and these huge washers, and it was just awesome to kind of just recall a memory of of growing up and not even knowing at that time that we were doing something that was a piece of local history. I just
We even played it at St. Edward's School.
Yeah.
I haven't played it in so long, but it was like I used to play that.
Yeah.
The washers and also the giant pieces of chalk that you can buy all the time now, but my grandfather used to bring this.
From the mill.
Pieces of chalk home from the
Yeah.
mill.
My dad has a question.
Yeah, that's one of the big ones.
There were only 3 colors.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me one time, why do you only have 3 colors of chalk? I said, that's what the sheet and tube had. Red, white, and yellow. They were like this big.
Okay,
Yeah.
we have a question.
Mary got the original brass pipes.
Yeah. The washer set in the video, the pipe is brass.
Okay.
Yeah.
They come from Falcon Foundry.
Falcon Foundry. Came from Falcon Foundry. Yeah. So, if anyone's interested in Youngstown history, these old guys who get together at the library cafes. Now our libraries have cafes. Just sit in there, especially the Newport. I know there have been a couple of professors from YSU have just sat in and they, taken notes and everything. Carl Bryant, who was a TV personality in Youngstown, is there. Sylvester Patton, who's he was on city council, or yeah, he's there, and just a whole bunch of guys talking.
It's like cultural anthropology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? So
Okay.
the set in the film is a brass set, and it's from
Falcon Bronze.
from the original mill.
Original. I don't.
The original pipes.
Original? Those are
The
from
brass,
the.
yeah.
Yeah. Are they
That's very
from
cool.
Falcon Bronze? Those.
Yeah. I don't know how they got them, but they got them.
Yeah. We did the photography and the audio using my uncle Mario's set, and I put him at the top of the list because he was leaving us at that time. He died not too long after that.
Oh.
Okay. So you're involved with Steel Valley Voices, and you've made this film. Have you worked on other film projects, other local projects?
Yeah, I have my family filmed. Yeah, all the 50s, 60s. Yeah. It used to be that Apple made it real easy to produce all this stuff. Now they're getting into more selling their own content. You know, it used to be made on a Mac. That website was made on a Mac. No, they want you to buy stuff from iTunes now. So,
Right.
but yeah.
What other projects do you have in store? Will you be contributing more videos to the website?
I don't know. It depends on how things go at the Steel Museum.
Okay. Cool. Well, we would love to keep updated on the state of the website.
Yeah, sure. I'm encouraging people who've done some of the interviews on video there to send in entries next year.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.